Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Friend Request, also known as Unfriend. It is a 2016 psychological horror cyber movie. This movie's interesting. It's a pretty okay movie, but just a pretty okay movie. It has a very unique premise. It's a supernatural movie that deals with this ghostly witch that, befriends this one girl at college. And then, when she dies and everything, she just, haunts her and her friends through the internet via Facebook. It's a really different take on the horror genre and that of social media and everything. I mean, it was bound to happen, and it's happened before. This is actually the first time I've ever watched a social media horror-esque type movie. There was one with Ashley Agato Torres and Ariel Winters on Tubi that I saw the trailer and I'm just like, webcam movie. I don't want to watch that. I don't like the idea of watching a movie through a person's computer screen looking like a Insta or Zoom or using a webcam and everything. To me, that is stupid, and I wish Hollywood would really stop doing that when it looks that way for the entirety of your movie. And that was a slasher movie. So I'm like, I really want to watch Ashley and Ariel on something more mature, like a horror type thing. So I'm like, why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not? But then I'm all like, I don't know. So I fast forward all throughout the movie, and it's just them and their friends goofing around on the internet. And then, oh, look, a slasher just happens to pop up towards the end of the movie and stuff. I'm just like, nah, I ain't watching this crap. And so, yeah. So, for the most part, when it comes to social media type killers, these type of movies don't do well. And in fact, this movie got panned and got a bunch of negative reviews. And it had a budget of $9 million and only made about $11 million at the box office. I didn't even know this came out in the box office. Now, one other unique thing about this movie, it's a German movie. Yeah. It's a German-made movie from a German company and a German-Austrian director / writer whose name I'm not even gonna begin to pronounce. And Warner Brothers actually is the one who let this movie out in America. And it was filmed in Germany and South Africa. Yet, oddly enough, everybody in this movie speaks with an American English accent. And the majority of the cast are Americans and stuff, except for 3 of the cast members. So half of the cast is American, and the other rest are from Australia, England, and South Africa. A really unique movie. It's a nice little international thing. I just wish it could have been a whole lot better. Now, this is something you can watch and you can just eat a popcorn, flick to movie, you know what I'm saying? But the odd thing is, as the story progresses more and more and more, it starts to become very confusing, and that's the major problem. And not only does it become confusing, it becomes just bizarre and everything. And this could have been something really cool. This could have really been something in the next big horror classic, you know what I'm saying? But sadly, it just isn't. And it's a shame because it had so much potential, And I was really hoping that it would do very, very well. Now, the only reason why I even watched this movie is because of the lead actress. I just love her to death. I've been a fan of hers ever since The 100, Fear the Walking Dead. And I think she was casting this before Fear the Walking Dead. And that's Alicia Debnam Debnam Carey. And so she's an Australian actress. And so I've been a fan of Alicia forever. But what I did not know is that William Moseley is also in this movie, and I'm a fan of his too. Sadly, however, he gives the most dull performance ever because he's speaking with a fake American accent. And this is the first time I've ever seen him speak with an American accent. Like, the dude has so much charm to him when he speaks with his natural British accent in other projects I've seen him in. And I don't know why they just didn't have him speak with his British accent. Like, it's just like he's trying to hold his American accent. He's not really doing too many facial expressions, and it just comes off as kind of flat. And at first, I didn't even know it was him, because I've never seen him with a beard, never seen him with shaggy hair, never heard him with an American accent. But then I just looked at him, I'm like, oh crap, that's William Moseley and everything. Also, I had no idea that Brooke Markham is in this movie, who plays Isabel. And I remember her from a show called Guidance that I reviewed a long time ago. Go watch that. So it's kind of neat. I didn't know these people was in the movie. And also Britt Morgan, she's in this movie. And I remember her from Supergirl. She was live wired. And I had no idea because Livewire wore a wig. I think they also put makeup on her skin to make her look more kind of like Livewire from the cartoon. And I think she was also in Riverdale, but I'm not sure if I was watching around the time she was on that. And so it's kind of neat. You always feel a little bit more satisfied when you recognize the cast. And so, but if only it would have done so much better, you know what I'm saying? Now, part of the reason why this movie didn't do so well is because, one, as the movie continues, yes, it does start to pick up the pace. But the pace is very slow in the beginning. Also, the acting feels very dull and very bland from some people. It's almost like they're like, yo, I flew way out to South Africa and I'm barely doing anything in this movie. I'm barely in the actual movie. That has to piss people off and everything, you know? Also, you don't really get to know your characters. They're there, but nobody never really has anything that makes you want to care about them when they die. Especially when, say, the first guy dies, who's in the friend group. It's just kind of who the heck is this guy? I don't even recognize him in the movie. He just kind of appeared out of nowhere. And it's the only characters you really care about is the lead. You kind of care a little bit about her boyfriend only because, he's really caring and, he has a good job and stuff like that. Her other friend who's all into computers and stuff, you kind of start to care about him at first until he turns scummy and everything. But as for her two best friends that are female, they're kind of just there, and you don't really know nothing about them. And I really didn't even remember their names until I looked it up. But you do feel bad for the girl who originally died in the movie turns out to be a witch/ghost and everything because she's so lonely. But she is, of course, evil now in this movie. So you don't really feel nothing for these characters. So when they die, it's just kind of who cares? Now, as to how some of these people die, it's not really spectacular. It's an R-rated movie. where's the R-rated stuff at, man? Like, yes, you do see a dude, like, towards the end of the movie, you start to see a little bit more blood and a little bit more gore, like a dude who gets stabbed in the neck, and that was unexpected. And but you expect to see more of that throughout the movie, or at least more paranormal type stuff. Like when the one guy is bouncing off the walls, he's not even in the air on wires. He's just walking around, thumping into walls, and you don't understand, like, what the heck, man? Like, a ghost is getting him. But it's like, it needed more special effects and gore. Like, they really need better visuals in the killings. Now, in terms of visuals, this movie has some really good visuals when it comes to the computer stuff. When the ghost lady starts to take over the computers and all the computers in the room starts blinking and some of them have weird imagery and her face on there, that was done very well. If the movie would have continued doing stuff like that, it would have been a little bit more better. Also, the art in which the girl who dies, um, Maria, no, Marina, she does like gothic type art and everything. It's like black and white imagery, and she posted on her Facebook, and like, it has like stop motion to it, and it's done so like amazing looking, like you're mesmerized by it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're really mesmerized. This could have really been as good as The Ring if they would have put more effort into it. But sadly, they did not. And this movie really should have amped up more the psychological aspects of it. Because in The Ring, you really get invested by the imagery and the psychology and the mental state of a person's mind. Here, it's just a very, very, very watered down version. Also, the main actress, her character, Laura, is supposed to be like extremely popular. She has like 800 friends on Facebook. But here's the thing. You never understand why she has 800 friends and why she's so popular on Facebook and why. Like Marina, I gotta say that a little bit slower, wants to be friends with her, or anybody wants to be friends with her. She's nice, yes, but she's just a character. Like, you feel bad for her because all this bad stuff is happening to her, but you never get a good understanding as to why anybody likes her. Like, why is she so popular? There's nothing she does in the movie that suggests that she's a very popular character. And especially to have 800 friends. Now, of course, these 800 friends, they're not really like, her friends and stuff. It's more like she's a friend collector. Like, I can't stand those people on social media who like will just befriend anybody, and anybody who requests them, they'll just accept. I had a friend like that in college, man. She got like over 1,000 people on her social media account, and she don't talk to really none of them, except for like maybe, well, she is a very sociable person. It's like every person she says hey to, oh, automatically they're her friend. And that's kind of how it is here, you know what I'm saying? And so also, like, oh, something else. This should have been more like a slasher type movie instead of a paranormal movie. Like, this could have been something really compelling if, like, a whole online stalker type thing. That's basically what it is, but it's just from a dead girl who is, like, now a ghost. See, what they should have did was, like, the girl Marina, who, like, befriends, like, Laura, but then she starts creeping her out. Right? Now, Marina is played by South African actress, and I can't pronounce her name, Laels Lares. She has 0 friends on Facebook. She has no friends, period. She wears a hoodie and a beanie because of the simple fact she has a condition that causes her to rip her hair out. So she has like bald spots and this and that. She's an art student. She's a little bit of a goth. So she's an outcast, right? And so nobody wants to befriend her and all this other stuff. It reminds me of that South Park episode, You Have Zero Friends and everything. So she's really desperate for anybody's attention. And then she like meets like Laura at school, and since Laura's so friendly, she befriends her on Facebook. Laura's in the circle was all like, why are you like, befriending the freak and everything? Like they're acting very high schoolish. This should have been a high school movie instead of college movie. And so like she's all like, oh, I felt bad for her, this and that. So at one point in time, Laura and Marina start like, to take like a selfie together. But then Marina starts to like creep out Laura by messaging her every day. And when Laura doesn't reply, she starts sending more messages by like every couple of minutes to every hour. So Laura really, really is one of those like social media, like, people who just befriends anybody but doesn't really talk to nobody. And people like that get on my nerves and stuff. It's like if you add somebody to your list, talk to them. Don't just say, hey. There's no, that's the problem with people. People are online sluts. They just want to have tons of friends on their list or tons of people following them just to make them look popular and everything. So because of this, and because like her friends are in her ear talking about like, oh, this girl's creepy, she's stalking you, and all this other stuff, and now she's acting desperate because you won't reply to her, and it's like, yeah, she's acting desperate because the girl literally ain't got no friends. You befriended her, and now you're ghosting her and stuff. Now this movie does send a bit of a bad message, kinda, when it comes to like online friendships, because like, this should have came out in the early 2000s, right? In the early 2000s, social media was popping, starting to take fold and everything. You had MySpace, then later Facebook came. You had like Yahoo Messenger and AOL and MSN and stuff like that, right? And so things like that was very new, and it started to scare some people because they weren't used talking to a complete stranger that they've never seen before, especially when they live like out of town. It was new, it was different, and it was a little creepy. And so a lot of people were scared of that, and a lot of people didn't want to meet nobody off online or really talk to them that much. Some people met online, some people dated online. Some people got hurt by meeting people online, but then after a while, it started to become common and more accepting, and more people started interacting with people online and meeting them in person and dating them. And yeah, there was a couple of bad seeds and stuff like that, and a lot of people who use folks for money online or just wanted to see like nudes or meet them in person to hook up and stuff like that. Honestly, online people are really no different than people in person that you meet. They can do all the good and bad things that a person that you meet in person can do to you and stuff. And so that's always like, and I'm not suggesting, oh, just go and befriend anybody you want online and go meet them and hook up. I'm not saying that. Always be cautious with anybody you interact with, whether it's the person online or it's the person you meet at school, work, in your town, whatever. But there's still people nevertheless. So it does kind of give that old early 2000s like stigma of like, oh, you can't trust nobody online and stuff like that, Because you could meet a person in person or at your church, and it can be a psychotic person. You just never know. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, back to the movie. So anyway, Marina, she, like I said before, is desperate and all this other stuff. She's a little weird, and she pulls her hair out, and other people think she's a freak. Anyway, she befriends that of Laura, and Laura decides to accept. And so she keeps bugging the crap out of her, over and over and over, talking about, hey, what you doing, and stuff like that. They hang out one time, take a selfie. And of course, like I said before, her friends get into like her ear, talking about like, why are you talking to this girl, this and that. So anyways, it's Laura's birthday and she's having a birthday party and she's only inviting her close small group of friends. Well, of course, Marina wants to be invited, but she lies to her and just says she's going to be hanging out with her boyfriend Taylor. Well, little Miss Stocky and everything decides to like find out where where Laura and her boyfriend's gonna go have their party, and she sees the rest of the friend group. So she is upset and she starts getting a bit angry and everything. The messages start even more, and then they confront each other in the cafeteria where Laura accidentally rips off like the beanie of like Marina, and people see her bald spots, they laugh, and she runs out. After that, she stops talking to her, and she might have unfriended her by that time, I'm not sure. But anyway, at that time, Marina just keeps messaging her again, over and over and over, begging to be her friend. Well, at this point in time, Laura can't take it, and she unfriends her. And the next day in school, Laura finds out that Marina took her life, that she was upset about, what's her name not being her friend no more. So, like, there's a video that Marina made as she's, like, taking her own life, and it got posted online, and the teacher tells people, do not repost this and stuff. Laura has not seen the video yet. However, this is when all the freaky paranormal stuff starts to happen. All of a sudden, Marina is back on her friends list. And all of a sudden, the video pops up in that of Laura's feeds. But it's shown that Laura is the one who posted it. She denies posting it over and over, and people think she's sick and disgusting for posting this, person taking her own life. So basically, what it is Marina has a picture, and she shows it. She likes the picture. She stands on something, hangs herself, burns herself, and she dies. And so, this is when a lot more of the freaky paranormal stuff will begin to happen. All of a sudden, every time Laura tries to delete, the video or Marina from her friends list, it will not do it. It keeps saying there's an error. And in fact, that was one of the titles of this movie, something called Error. This movie had a different couple of titles and stuff, mainly because the word unfriend or unfriended is from other movies and stuff, so they didn't want to get confused with that. And so it's getting to the point where now all of a sudden her friends start to drop like flies. Gustavo, he is the first one to go. It's weird, all of a sudden it says Marina is on his friends list, and then something happens off screen, and then the video footage captures him banging his head up against the walls in the elevator, where the one girl, I think her name is Isabel, she sees it and freaks out as he's dying. That video footage, however, got posted on Laura's page saying that she posted it, and because of that, people's all once again, you're disgusting and all this, and people start to unfriend her. Dozens and dozens and dozens of people start to unfriend her to where she got about 700 or 600 friends now. And so now the police are getting involved because they're all like, why are you posting this? Blah, 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 blah. Do you have something to do with this? How did you get this video footage? Did you kill what's his name? Blah, 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 stuff like that, right? And so they're all like, look, if you're not posting this and something is wrong with your account, just delete your account. She can't delete her account for some reason. Isabel is pissed at her because she's either friends with that guy or they dated or something like that. But then something happens to her where something's chasing her in the halls of the hospital, and then it takes her, and then we see a video footage of her cutting her throat and everything. So what it is this ghostly thing of Marina, it takes over people's bodies and calls them to kill themselves. Then it gets uploaded on the internet and it says that Laura posted it. And once again, people are pissed, giving her the evil eye and unfriending her. She doesn't know what's going on. Her boyfriend Tyler doesn't know what's going on. Her other friend Olivia is scared and is like, "Yo, I'm leaving before I end up dead." So then she goes to her friend Kobe. Now Kobe's an odd guy. When the movie first started, he got jealous that she was dating Tyler, but why? It never explains. Obviously, he has a crush on her. Tyler doesn't like him because supposedly, like, he has a crush on his girlfriend, and so the movie just doesn't explain that all that well when it comes to that Kobe and everything. This is something they really should have emphasized a bit more. But anyway, he's really good with computer stuff, and he's looking at the code of like Marina's Facebook page, and it doesn't look like normal like computer internet code or HTML, whatever it used to be called. I used to design web pages back in the day. Ah, how it has changed. Anyway, it's coming up as some freaky letters and all this other stuff, and he just doesn't know what the heck is going on. And then, like, him and Laura starts to investigate all about Marina, because apparently she lied about her last name, she lied about her social security, lied about where she's from, and all this other stuff. So she has a weird backstory. And when I say it's a weird backstory, the writer literally just kept writing themselves in like one hole after another hole after another hole to where it just doesn't make no sense. So next to die is Olivia. And something happens where she gets thrown out like a window and she falls on the car of Tyler and that of Laura. So she's all banged up, but she lived. But the ghost of Marina is not going to let her live. Takes over her body, grabs the cop's gun, and blows her brains completely out. And you get to see that too. This is when some of the gore starts to happen now. Because before, it was very tame. Where the heck was that R rating? Well, it's coming now, but not in the effect I would really like for it to be. So, what's her name is down to probably about like 100 friends now, and she figures enough is enough. Now it's time to figure out who this Marina person really is. And boy, when I say it's a backstory, I mean it is a backstory. So her backstory is so convoluted, like it's more confusing than the continuity of both the X-Men live action movies and the Highlander movies combined. It's that convoluted. First thing is first, the way she was born. So something happened, there's a fire, her mom burns to death, and the doctors decide, hey, let's keep the body alive for a couple of months because there's a baby womb inside of her. So all charred up and everything, they finally deliver her. Weird, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get that. Like, that's just kind of odd. So it makes you think, oh, that's probably where she gets her paranormal stuff from, right? Well, when she was an orphan at an orphanage, these two boys started to bully her. We don't know the extent of what they did when they bullied her because they put her in the bathroom and they went in the bathroom with her and they closed the door, so there's no telling what happened to her. But she got her revenge by, I guess, burning them or something. She made their faces look weird. Let's just put it like that. Then now all of a sudden she's a witch. So like every once in a while somebody will have a hallucination of her looking all monstrous and stuff like that, right? And so apparently Kobe finds out that she was part of a coven and that has something to do with black mirrors, and when you stare at the black mirror, something happens with your soul, and something I honestly don't even know at this point. But yeah, now apparently she's a witch and everything. And so freaky. Then as they're like investigating the place of the orphanage that like burnt down and everything, Caleb sees a woman dressed in a costume and wearing a mask. This is Marina. Why all of a sudden is a dead ghost wearing this costume for? That makes no sense. When you get further and further into this movie, it just does not make no sense. But then what really doesn't make no sense is the behavior of that of Caleb. Not Caleb, but Kobe and everything. Basically, they was having a conversation in the car and he's all like, all your friends are gonna die all because you befriended some kind of freaky witch person and you're the only person who's gonna live. Why? Because Marina wants literally Laura to have zero friends. So paranoid, he figures, hey, if I kill you, then this would probably make Marina happy and she'll spare my life and Tyler's life. So, out of nowhere, he takes a big knife and stabs her in the stomach. Somehow, she is able to get away and run away from him, bleeding out and everything. She finds, like, I think, like a picture of where she thinks Marina's body might be or where she committed, like, the murder, because that's the only way somehow to stop her. So somehow she sees, I guess, like from the distance, like these three buildings, and that's where what's the name did it. So I think she might have called Tyler, I'm not sure. But then she's running and she's running and she finds like a taxi cab. And wouldn't you know it, they got her as like the brave survivor who's bleeding out. And this is what's so dumb. The taxi cab driver is all like, you want me to take you to the hospital? No, take me to this factory and everything. Bleeding out. How is she not passed out at this point? Why did he not take her to the hospital? Wouldn't you think he would be freaked out to have a person bleeding in his car, and if she dies and he takes her to this factory, he can be blamed for... The writing don't make no sense no more. Anyway, Tyler finds Caleb. He doesn't even know that what's his name, I think, tried to kill him. Maybe he does, I don't know. But they drive to the factory, and when they're all there, Caleb stabs Tyler in like the neck. Oh, I forgot to mention, a bug went inside like Tyler's ear. And I'm just like, why? Anyway, it's a wasp. Why? Nothing makes any sense no more. And so even Tyler tried to like unfriend like Marina. Then he tried to unfriend like, his girlfriend, and other people tried to, but it just won't work. The ghost just won't let them. So anyway, somehow Kobe dies, and I forget how, but he dies and everything. And so Laura's all like hurt. She's like bleeding out and she sees the demonic ghost of like Marina. And then Marina just like rushes towards her and it kind of goes black. And it's like, what the heck happened? And then the stupidest thing happened of them all. We see Laura sitting down by herself with the laptop of Marina, wearing the exact same hoodie as Marina and sitting the way she does, meaning that the ghost took over her body. But why exactly? What is the end game of this? Like, this doesn't make no sense. If this is what she wanted to do all along, then why didn't she do it before? I guess she wanted to be Miss Popular. The only problem is, how in the world is Ghost Marina gonna be popular in Laura's body when Ghost Marina made the entire school hate her to where she has no friends now? So how in the world is she supposed to be popular? She legit has again, she has no friends and everything. Like, nobody wants to do anything, be associated in any kind of way with Laura. This movie makes no sense. This movie could have been a million times better if they stopped trying to make Marina so like interesting with her backstory. Just give her one backstory and that is it. The Ring. This is really similar to The Ring, but The Ring was done so much better. Just give her a tragic backstory and let the ghost just haunt the internet or something like that. Or take out all the ghostly stuff and just make it into a psychological thriller with that of Kobe. Flesh out the story more as to why Kobe likes that of like Laura so much and has a crush on her, and show his jealousy towards Tyler. Show it in a big way. Then you can bring in Marina, have her try to be friends with Laura, only for Laura to reject her and she still takes her life. Then Kobe, who's really good with computers and stuff, what if Like, he was the one who convinced, like, Marina to take her life, and he filmed it, and he's the one who hacked through Laura's Facebook page and posted it and everything, making people think that Laura is disgusting and macabre and depraved and stuff like that. Then, when it comes to like all her friends, what if, like, I don't know, like, actually, before it gets to her friends, go back and have fake Marina like re-add Laura back to the friends list. And Laura's like, how did this happen? The girl is dead. Well, it's really Kobe just hacking her system and everything. Then it could be like a slasher movie where he kills her friends one by one, and like he could be dressed up in like all like a hoodie and everything, like Marina, and like hide his face and just start killing her friends, recording it and hacking Laura's page showing the video footage. This makes the police very suspicious and assume that Laura is the one behind all this and everything. And what if he lies to like Laura and be all like, nah, dude, this is like a ghost and everything, and she hacked your system. And what if, for whatever reason, Laura believes it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this would explain how what's the name keeps getting back on her page and all this other stuff. Only for when they do like the whole like trying to discover who Marina is and everything, then it's discovered, bam, he's the one doing all this. He's like a cyber killer and everything. That would have been so much cooler and everything than what the heck we got here. And it sucks because, like, you know, Alicia, she's talented. William, he's talented. And everybody else did a pretty good job for whatever was given to them. And they didn't deserve to go down like this in a movie that is so uneven and so convoluted. Like, you have these characters, but there's nothing to these characters. We don't know why they are the way they are. We don't know why they're friends with Laura. And we don't know why Laura has so many friends and everything. Now, wasn't that spooky? Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.